stem cells, many different cell types in the body found in the start of human life. They can repair, divide, and even replicate themselves. There are two types of stem cells, embryonic and adult. Embryonics are found in embryo or in babies in the womb, and they can become any cell. The adult cells can be found in adults' bones, muscles, or brain, and can become most cells, but not any cell. Scientists are interested in stem cells because they are fascinated with the unknown. They don't know all of what the stem cells can do, and they're constantly figuring out new ways to try and solve problems using them. Which brings us to ethics. Ethics are moral principles that govern a person's behaviour. It is also the study between right and wrong. Without ethics, science would be able to do whatever they wanted with whoever or whatever they wanted. This means they could be torturing humans or putting them through immense pain to try and figure out new scientific methods. This is why ethics is needed in science to prevent that. Using stem cells, scientists could clone humans if they wanted to, but there is a law against it, saying that we should not be able to clone humans because that could cause all sorts of problems, which is why ethics is so closely linked into science. However, using stem cells, scientists can cure a lot of things, for example cancer, Parkinson's disease, diabetes, and cerebral palsy. There are some good and bad sides to using stem cells. Some good sides are the fact that you're using it to do more research to figure out how they work and can be used in different medicines to cure things. However, some people consider it as killing the embryo by taking the stem cells out, which is killing a human life. And some people also would argue that it's a waste of both time and money to do such things. Some stem cell usage can be good. For example, take Daniel's story. He lives in the UK, he's 4 years old, and he has autism. Before the stem cell surgery, he wouldn't be able to leave the house without kicking and screaming. All he wanted was to stay home and be comforted. There was constant action and constant running around the house, barely any communication, constant screaming to try and get what he wanted without using actual words, had obsessions with Thomas the Tank Engine. He needed to have everything Thomas the Tank Engine. He's very antisocial, so when other kids would come over to play, he would lock himself in his room and play with his Thomas the Tank Engine by himself. And constantly eating beyond full, and therefore putting on a lot of weight. However, after his stem cell research and development and procedure, there was less eating. He would leave food on his plate after dinner. He tolerated more food and was open to try new things. He was able to go out and have a proper meal, sit down with his family. He listens to his mother and waits for her call. He's more calm and he has better communication skills. Also, after the stem cell research, he still had an obsession with trains, but now was more to real trains and not so much Thomas the Tank Engine. He was also able to do things like dressing himself and taking care of himself. Now onto the more personal side of things, my opinions on stem cell research. My opinion of stem cell research is that it's fine, so long as everyone who is involved agrees. So long as there's no problems with forcing someone to do it, I feel that it's completely fine. And there are a lot of big questions that scientists still don't know the answer to, which is why they're doing stem cell research to try and figure out how to cure things like cancer and Parkinson's. We cannot know the answers to this until we ask God to show us the answers and to guide us in our research and in our studies. In Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, it says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I anointed you as a prophet to the nations." And in Jeremiah 29:11, it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." Now, both of these Bible verses are saying that God knows us and has a plan for us. Now, that plan may not always be a big plan. It could be for stem cell research. God's plan for someone might be for them to be tested upon using their stem cells to try and figure out ways to cure other people's illnesses. So in conclusion, I believe that as long as scientists are letting everyone have their say, they're abiding by the laws that the government has set out, and everyone involved agrees, and they're not abusing their power, I believe that scientists should be allowed to do stem cell research using embryo and adult stem cells.